There have been numerous allegations against Ferrari recently, and they're clinging on to second in the Constructors' Championship after a solid start in the season. But with errors now stacking up, Binnito under increasing pressure, things are getting awkward in the Ferrari garage. In today's video, we'll look at how Binnito is making excuses for their poor decisions, and is Binnito to blame for all of this? Stick around to the end as we explain what Ferrari should do to reclaim the glory it deserves for the 2023 season, and if Wolff now thinks Mercedes are Red Bull's main competitors. Ferrari's F175 is a capable championship contender, but the Italian team has put itself at a severe disadvantage, a combination of driver error and terrible strategy calls, with the number of errors made being far too high compared to the competition. So let's recap on some of the devastating mistakes the team has been making. The one that is widely remembered is the mistake made in the GP of Emilia-Romagna, where the Tifosi were in full force as for the first time in years, Ferrari team members led the championship when they arrived in Imola. 46 points separated Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Ferrari had a 49-point advantage over Red Bull Racing going into Italy. In the sprint race, Leclerc experienced tyre degradation issues, allowing Verstappen to win and take the pole position for Sunday. On race day, Red Bull proved too strong for the Italians, and the Austrian racing team went on to win its first double win since 2016. To worsen the situation, Leclerc only had himself to blame for attacking Sergio Perez and finishing in 6th. The second error occurred during the Monaco Grand Prix. Unfortunately for Leclerc, 2022 demonstrated why some believe his home race is cursed. He had never crossed the finish line in Monte Carlo before this year, so this was his big chance to end that streak. Everything seemed to point to an easy victory with pole position in his pocket, but that dream was brutally dashed by none other than his team. Instead of letting Leclerc out longer and switching to softs right away, as Sainz insisted, Ferrari's panic got the better of them. The Monegasque was called back after just a few laps of his first pit stop, but as he was approaching the pit lane, he heard his engineer yelling at him to remain outside. Was too late. Leclerc had to start behind Sainz. Leclerc finished in 4th position and even missed the podium in a race that Ferrari had a chance to win twice. And yet, the Silverstone error is probably the most embarrassing of the lot. The Monegasque appeared to be headed for an easy victory as Verstappen was forced to finish with a piece of carbon fiber under his car, forcing him out of the race. Ferrari missed that chance by being slow to respond in a late safety car scenario. The Italian team's pit wall decided that Leclerc, leading at the time, should stay out. However, Sainz, Perez and Lewis Hamilton did, and all three drivers passed Leclerc despite being on 14-lap tyres. As in Monaco, the team squandered a potential victory by finishing 4th. Things looked promising for the Monegasque at Circuit Paul Ricard as well. After starting from the back of the grid due to an engine change, Sainz assisted his teammate in securing the pole position. Verstappen encountered difficulties maintaining his position and overtaking Leclerc as the latter was brought in for a pit stop. The Ferrari driver overshot the mark and collided with the wall while trying to gain as much time as possible on his rival before his stop. You would have thought Ferrari would have learned by now, but even at the most recent Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz anticipated a 6-way fight for the victory, but on race day, Mercedes and Red Bull took the lead, leaving Ferrari in the dust. Sainz finished 5th and Charles Leclerc finished 6th. The team manager Mattia Binnito was eager to learn from the race because the team's Achilles heel this season has been the strategy. While their decision to start on soft tyres and finish on mediums should have paid off, a lack of power seemed to be their undoing at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The altitude could have played a role, as could the fact that unlike their competitors, they chose to shift their focus to developing their 2023 car at an early stage this year. After the race, Binnito admitted that Mercedes was returning and they appeared more competitive than before. Binnito also admitted that he knew they had stopped development on their cars quite early, the focus on 2023, that he was not too concerned about the rate of growth because he knew when they had stopped. However, when people do not achieve what they are capable of, it's often to hear them give excuses. This is no different with Ferrari, which has been facing issues this season. Let's now focus on that. The Mexico City Grand Prix was a struggle for Ferrari, whose F175 was strangely uncompetitive throughout the race weekend. Ferrari faced significant reliability and performance issues, with persistent engine issues and poor handling impeding the team's progress. The first time in 2022, the Scuderia was not even a contender for the podium due to Mercedes' continued advancements and advance the 2023 season. The German team has made several improvements as it prepares for a crucial winter of development to close the gap between Ferrari and Red Bull the following season. In an interview with Formula 1.Uno Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto was asked if the Silver Arrow's upward trajectory is cause for concern. Binotto stated that Mercedes was returning because they were developing more than Ferrari, who had stopped developing early to focus on 2023. So he's not concerned about their advancements because he knows they've stopped developing. Binotto also mentioned that Mercedes had lost a few races due to poor tyre selection, implying that it's not just them who make mistakes. Binotto also pointed the finger at the tyres. He stated that they concluded that the soft-medium strategy was the best choice because the soft had less tyre degradation. With Mercedes having enjoyed a recent uplift in form, Ferrari's performances have prompted suggestions that Red Bull's main threat is now the German manufacturer rather than the Italian squad. However, few believe that the Mexico showing was realistic of where Ferrari stacks up right now. Asked if Red Bull regarded Mercedes as its strongest competitor in F1, team boss Christian Horner said, "I think this track has played to their strengths. I think Ferrari looked like they were a little bit handicapped this weekend, so I'm not sure we saw their real pace. I'm sure they'll be back." Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff reckons that, while fortunes have improved for his squad in recent outings, a much better picture would emerge from the Brazilian GP. Pushed on if he felt Mercedes was ahead of Ferrari, Wolff said, "I wouldn't want to say that because they're a strong team and we've had a few strong Sundays now. But maybe this circuit flattered us. I think after Brazil, we'll have maybe more of a picture, but I don't think they're suddenly half a minute slower than us." Even though Ferrari is making excuses for their poor performance this season, we believe there are some things they can do to improve. Team strategy is unquestionably at the top of the list among the many changes that the Scuderia must make. Ferrari was heavily chastised for the erroneous team calls that cost Charles Leclerc multiple races this year. Another thing they can do is improve their leadership, as the 2022 season had been a litmus test for Binotto's ability to handle pressure. The fraternity was dissatisfied with the Italian's management of his team. Would it be the right time for Binotto to leave the team? Another aspect of Ferrari's performance is the need to produce a more reliable vehicle by 2023. This season, Ferrari and dependability did not go hand in hand. The team was already struggling with strategies when plagued by an unpredictable car. The F175, despite its speed, encountered several mechanical issues during its journey. The dependable vehicle they must produce by 2023 must also be more accessible to the drivers. Finally, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz must improve on their mistakes. The two drivers were under extra strain because the outfit consistently made terrible decisions. However, there were times when the duo buckled under pressure and made a costly error. Leclerc lost control of his car during the French GP after taking a commanding lead over Verstappen. Verstappen eventually won the race because of Leclerc's error, so the drivers' mistakes in Imola and Suzuka should not be ignored either. What are some other things Ferrari could do to improve their performance? Comment down below, let's engage.